Game.
Hi.
Oh, and welcome everyone. Yes, before you say yet another talk show, I will say yes, I too have succumbed to the talk show fever. And why not? I've always dreamed of having my own talk show. So I finally decided to bite the bullet. Plus, naunahan ako ni Naomi Campbell, ang daya mo.
She got her idea from you.
I guess so. Well, anyway, I'm so happy that the three of you put on makeup today. And
Yeah.
Oh,
Who said
So
that?
hard.
Natural face.
got dressed, even if you're not wearing pants. I appreciate the effort.
anything
wanna
for
see?
years.
So I'm so happy that my first guests for my very first Facebook Live for a show that has no title yet are here.
Oh, maybe we can get them to suggest titles and they'll prize.
Good idea.
Yeah.
I'm so thrilled to introduce three people who are my lifelong friends, and each of them were once, and maybe until not so long ago, stars on the runway, magazine pages, billboards,
So long ago.
and then they continue to evolve and succeed in the next fields, careers, vocations, or incarnations that they choose to take. And after you meet them, you'll realize why we have become lifelong friends. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so thrilled to introduce to you Tweetie de Leon Gonzalez, Apple's Aberin, and Bea Recto Agmir. Yay!
Hi, Myrza. Thanks
Hi.
on your first Facebook Live.
I know you guys
Congratulations.
washing dishes, watering plants. No, apples actually came from several meetings.
Yes, I was busy the whole day, but I'm so happy to be here celebrating Friday with Myrza, Tweety, and Bea.
She,
Cheers!
Oh, years, wala nang laman.
so how are you guys locking down? In
Sorry.
how long has it been? 38 days of lockdown. How have you spent?
Don't count.
Don't count.
It's longer if you count,
I know, I tried.
right? I just take it day by day.
Yeah, same
And
here.
when they said another 15 more days,
Yeah.
In the
Yeah,
beginning,
I'm relishing the time I have with the kids whose attention I have completely, because otherwise, they each have their own schedules to fulfill. They have training, they have school, they have gigs and band practices and whatnots. At least now we get to sit down as a family completely. We work out together. We get to do chores together, and that includes the dogs. They get so much
the
attention
3 dogs.
now, and they're turning out to be bigger spoiled brats even.
they're probably saying, di ba kayo aalis? Nandito pa rin kayo.
Exactly.
No,
And,
parang
yeah,
gusto
when I now
so they can tag along.
Oh, that's so cute. And for a while, me myself, I never realized that I would actually go through anxiety and a little bit of depression because I never experienced that in my life. And then maybe I realized it's because of the lack of control. I'm such a type A personality that
Oh my God.
to have everything in control, and then suddenly you have no control of what's happening out there or what your future will be. And I have to admit, it was such a new feeling for me, and I would have days where I had a whole long to-do list, but I couldn't. I was just catatonic and lying on the couch and just sad.
wow. What week was that?
Maybe week 1 and 2, and I couldn't
Yeah.
what was going on. Did
I
you
think
go through such
we
a
all went through similar things, I think. But in the end, you kind of get used to it, and then you buckle down and say, enough of this, and then you do things to enrich yourself and protect yourself and your emotions so you can be there for other people around you. It was really hard because the news was bad, and then you can see other people suffering more than you are. There's a bit of guilt that you're in a very safe place and yet you're feeling sad. You can't understand why the emotions are like that. But after a while, it levels, and then you start to get a bit of balance, and then you get
Yeah, once you establish a routine for this
Yeah.
new kind of normal. Plus,
What's your
the three of you
routine?
are type A kasi.
You're
yeah,
not.
I was gonna say
No!
You're not.
Bea
I'm
not
type B.
exciting.
I'm type
Listen to
Bea.
yourself.
I'm not at all.
See, that's what
I want to
Myrza
give
was talking about.
control. I don't
For
want to control
everybody who's
things.
watching in to understand why we've been lifelong friends.
Because
Hello.
you're all type B.
It's so stressful to be type A.
Bea's type A.
Huh?
I never
No.
thought you were type A.
You're
See,
double.
I'm not. So
But
it's like,
domestic goddess, like, why you run your household like a tight ship?
no.
She's so much more chill than us.
I like feeding my kids. I like seeing the joy in their faces when they first taste something. I love that. So I don't know if it's good. It's just that they're easy to feed. The standards are low,
Just to,
Boys are easy to feed.
right?
just to reveal to the viewers, the kids of my friends are actually grown people. They're not little children and
Grown people, they're humans.
Others are.
adult humans. And to this day, I cannot imagine, or I'm really, really amazed by how you have raised and brought up such beautiful, intelligent, and I guess well brought up children who are now adults. I mean,
I
Yeah.
don't wonder how I did it. I wonder how I did it.
even raise a plant. I can't even raise a sprout. I just killed some basil sprouts that I planted the other day. And
Oh no.
I'm amazed. What's the secret? How did you raise such fine, fine children?
Did we?
I think so.
Well,
Find
yeah,
out in a few years.
my kids have never been arrested for anything, so I guess is that the bar?
Yeah, we set very high standards, no? As long as they're not
They're not
arrested.
criminals. They're not criminals. They're
They're
I
geniuses.
think
They're always stopping like exams. And
that has nothing to do with me. But I think you have to. I listen to them. I don't know if they'll agree, but they have a voice. Even when they were little, there came a point when finally they said, they made me feel like you have to listen to me. I am a human being. I'm not just your child. I have my own choices. They didn't verbalize it that way, but there came a point I need to treat me like another person instead of just a child. And so listening to them.
It's not always easy, right? Because at what point in a child's life do you really allow them to make decisions for themselves, or for them to have a voice, or for them to have a vote in what involves them? Because sometimes it's really difficult for us to say they're old enough to make that decision for themselves. They're old enough to do that for themselves. They're
Yes.
old enough to commit that mistake, and whatever happens, it's okay. Because sometimes we tend to be very protective. We don't want them to get hurt. We don't want them to fall down. We don't want them to fail. But I guess for my part, I always tell them it's okay to make mistakes, and that's really the only way for you to learn. And that's how I learned myself, falling down, getting into tight situations, making the wrong decisions. And I've made many. And
You do not name them.
alam mo na yun lahat. We've been lifelong friends.
Pero I think we were generally good kids. Generally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was good.
Oh, generally.
No,
It's when I met you guys that I became
doesn't
bad.
necessarily mean you're a bad person.
You
Diba?
guys
It's
were the bad influence.
due to inexperience and lack of wisdom.
Demonic yung bad influence.
You think that's what attracted us to each other because we're good people or not?
Of course not.
I think because we understand each other, we're all in the same, we met each other at the same stages, points in our lives, we were young, we were carefree, we had very, very similar interests, and
We're the
growing.
same height.
Yeah,
Oh.
exactly what I was gonna say. Because we're all short and we had to walk
We were
together.
thrown together.
Yeah.
Explain why models of the same height become friends. Like we were the mga 5'7", and then there are mga 5'9".
Excuse me, 5'8" and 3/4.
Sinungaling.
We're not class. Yeah.
Just
Sorry
look
ko
up
din yan dati.
YouTube.
Ano ba? My press release was 5'8".
Ako
Okay,
din.
we're all 5'8".
Ako din. What's
Kung
your
height natin ngayon? Baka hindi na 5'7".
5'7" and 3/4.
Kuba na.
Oo.
But
Osteoporosis.
Tweetie and Apple started modeling in their teens. But
Yeah, in the 80s.
Grabe.
Myrza and I started in our 20s. In the 80s also.
I always stress in the late 80s. Not very sensitive about
Myrza joined Look of the Year and I was also a contestant. So we were together there.
Actually, the three of you were the top models when I joined. And the three of you were
Wow.
today.
Parang hindi naman. Parang sila Tina Maristela pa noon.
Well, kayong tatlo yung parang ina-admire ko. Tweetie and Bea were actually my model girl crushes in UP. And
What?
I would actually stalk them. Tweetie
and
would
you are I
the halls of AS, and I would be like, fine model, oh my God, ang ganda niya. And then Bea would wait for her car in the BA building, and I would be like,
She didn't say maganda ako ha. She just said wow.
She just said you were waiting for your car.
I wasn't modeling yet. But I already looked like a model.
I think I even
I agree. You really that stance and that
Thank you.
dignified stance as you still do.
Thank you. Thank you.
With her pamaypay.
with their pamay.
Yeah, I already had that in high school.
She was already not flashing.
I was preparing for menopause.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Wala na.
And modeling, and actually,
Yeah, because we're all the same height, we were always grouped together.
yes, no choice.
And during dead time, the dead times during rehearsals, we would sing together. Some of you would smoke. I would cross stitch and crochet. But then all that dead time led to our, getting to know each
Because
other
when
more.
we're free, the others were not. They were at work.
Right.
No, I mean, because they'll be on stage while we're at rest.
So all the 5'9" girls, 5'10" girls are so close, right? You're gonna have them on your show.
Well,
No,
Yeah, you have the 5'9", the 5'10" girls.
Yeah, that's why we're called the shit girls.
Yeah, somebody's asking here, why are you called the SH''T girls? What
Someone's watching.
please explain.
yes,
Wasn't it Jackie Aquino who named us the shit girls?
Yes.
Girl, shit.
Shed, because
Because
not shit, but shed.
but
Shit.
it was the way
The way
I
we
don't
the
know.
way we talk.
No, because colegiales or people from, schools back then were known to speak that way. And because we're all from UP, right?
Well,
so
and
Malu's
Ateneo.
from Ateneo, Trixie. But then that's how people the perception of people, how colegiales used to speak was Shet naman, you're so cute, right? And so I think Jackie coined that, that we're all like
But
Shet
we
girls.
didn't talk
But
that
I really
way.
I don't say shit that way. I say shit talaga. I don't
Yeah.
say.
And the other groups of girls were called what? You had the senora,
Ining girls.
mean
The
girls,
Ining girls or the Balakang girls.
The ates.
The sisters. Right?
The tears.
The Tears.
which group? Like the tears were who?
Sila Grace, Baba, Fem.
Femela Baranda, Baba Parma. Who were the inings?
That's sila Jem, sila Patty, Marina,
Marina Benifay. Who were the ates?
sila Iza, Suyen, Tina. There.
Senoras.
Who were the other ones?
Sometimes they call us senioras, pero parang di ako sure. Or is anybody who moved on to the afterlife already called us senioras?
The what?
To the modeling afterlife.
Senor.
But
I think
How did each of you become models? What was
How?
your discovery story? Like I had no discovery story. I planted myself in 22 BC because I thought that's where models went. And then 2 hours later, still not discovered. And the sales girls were
you took your fate into your own hands.
Right?
That's fantastic.
Good thing I waited for 2 hours because
Women power.
the sales girls were like, yes, miss, can I help you? I'm like, I'm okay. On the second hour, an agent named Danny Sandoval from Faces Asia walked in
Danny! Yeah.
and said, excuse me, are you a model?
And what did you say? No, but I want to be.
No, but I
Ganyan.
Ano?
Wow.
No,
Tall
you should
guy
have
with curly
said
hair, right?
soon.
Tall guy with curly hair.
Yes, and glasses.
Yeah. I remember that.
And tumakas lang ako from SGV where I work in order to be discovered.
Galing! And look what happened to you.
What was your,
Very high.
you have like a moment like that?
I was considered tall then, right? So when my ate's classmate, Dulce Sandico, her sister, Dita Sandico Ong, was launching she was starting to design. And so she had a fashion show at home. It was just in her house in the living room. So she took me to model for her. Unbeknownst to me, after that, she submitted my name to join Supermodel of the World. The first supermodel the first supermodel in the Philippines.
Oh, you were with Tweetie.
And that's
Not
where I
about
met Tweetie. That's where I met Tweetie.
Oh,
We were in the same batch of supermodel. And my sister just found the Betamax and she converted it. It's now in a USB stick and I'm going to share it with you.
God, what's a Betamax?
Something, I don't know. She said Betamax. I don't know. What is it? I just know
It's in USB format now.
yeah. And after we became finalists, after that, the first big show I had with all the finalists and Tweetie was FDG. Do you remember that? Fashion Designers Group?
Yeah.
That was an amazing experience because it was all the top designers of that time. Cesar Galpo, Inu Soto, Mike De La Rosa. Am I right?
Kaloy. Lulutan.
It was a fantastic group for a first big show. For me, it was spectacular.
So Supermodel fast-tracked your career.
Not just fast track. It started my career because modeling was not at all in my. I just finished business administration and I was already applying to banks.
Oh,
In
wow.
fact, my first interview for Far East supermodel had already released like press releases. And so I went to the interview, and the two guys that interviewed me recognized me from the press release. And they said, if we hire you, are you going to be a model after? They weren't sure if I was going to stay. So I said, yeah, I might. So obviously I didn't get hired.
What? Their loss.
Yeah, I agree.
But Tweety, you were only 14 when you first did your the Royal True Orange commercial. Was that how you got discovered, or was it somewhere else?
Well, the early part of my modeling career really started out in advertising. So that's what launched my advertising career, Royal to Orange, and I did a few other TV commercials after that. And because of these TV commercials, I was scouted for print advertising with Anne Klein. And I was
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I remember that.
I was fortunate enough to land the contract for a number of years. So that sort of trained me in the print world. And then, just like Bea, I saw that Supermodel was being launched and they were going to have the competition here in the Philippines. And I decided to join. So I applied, and that's how my runway career started.
She won that year. She won the first supermodel.
I did a few other runway shows before that with I think I did a show with Christian Espiritu, Louis Mamengo, and then maybe because of a few experiences before the competition, it gave me somewhat of, a good amount of confidence to join Supermodel, thinking that, I could pull it off. So that's what I did. And then after that, I joined PMAP and you all became my friends and we're still here.
How about you, Apps?
Me, I was just a guest model for Malu Veloso, Vicky and Letlet. So they used to make my clothes. They made my clothes since I was from when I was a baby. And
wow.
So we did a debutante number wearing our own clothes for my cousin's debut. And the music was "You Are My Lucky Star." Oh my God. And I know. And then the director was Boris Haulog at that time. And then after that, he just asked me if I wanted to model. I had never had plans really, but I was watching the rest. I remember Teta was there, Teta Ortiz, Suyen, and I was so amazed. And then after that, I just did it because there was nothing else to do. until I joined PM80, and then that was it. My first shoot, Tweety was there. It was for this Hong Kong-based agency. Yeah. Yeah, so we were getting a bunch of models here, and that was the shoot for that agency. And I went in with my mom, and Tweety was there. She was the model.
Alone.
She was the first one who was shooting, and Henry was the makeup artist, stylist, and everything else. Tess Celestina was the photographer. Marden was there, I remember. And Henry was saying, ayan, gayahin mo siya, tingnan mo siya. And that was
wow.
Watch her now, how she was posing.
She was the peg.
She was the peg. Kasi, she's older than me by a lot.
Yeah nga.
Wait, Bea's older than me.
How did it feel to be teenagers thrust in a glamorous world and making your own money? Diba? That must be something else.
Wasn't a lot of money.
I was already 21 when I really started modeling, so I was expected to make money.
Well, for me, it was like extra baon for school. I had free clothes from Anne Klein, which, thrilled me, and I really had no budget for clothing because there was no uniform. So,
Because naman, remember the luncheon shows, guys? The
Oh
Manila.
yeah, Manila, Moda
or
Maynila.
the luncheon shows that Bea put us through.
Oy, those were high budget, ha?
High budget. Yeah, that's
Oh.
one for one for all.
Wow, Moda Manila was what? Like 300 a show? 50 ata.
I would say that back then, modeling was kind of it's very competitive now, but back then I remember as a newbie I was so terrified na tatarayan ako ng senior models because they were kind of known to do that. Like you would hear stories of nagbabato ng sapatos or tinatawag ng sapatos, or it's always something.
Yeah.
Or tatarayan ka, and if you forget the choreography, sisigawan ka, and I'm so terrified. I remember being so terrified of my constant exposure was with the China chop. And she was always yelling at me because I couldn't like remember the choreography. And so I would come.
Is it someone we know?
I know who. I can name names. Why were you yelling at my friend?
She'd tell me, "Wag ka nang umikot, hindi ka marunong umikot, tumayo ka na lang dyan." Or some
Wow.
How come I didn't know that?
That's
I was also afraid of the three of you. But then, eventually, nung PMA pinatayo, hindi pwedeng magtarayan to each other, diba? Because we're all in it together. But did you experience any such things? And how come now? I don't know if that happens now or not anymore, but I learned a lot about how women can be so competitive in my early days of modeling. And undergo
happened to me.
such terror.
Maybe because my mom would come with me. My mom would join me for the shows. So she would be friends with all the older models like Ling Ling Gonzalez. Ganyan.
Because they thought she was a model also, right?
Yeah, they did think she was a model. So everyone was just so nice to me. I was fortunate that I didn't have to go through such traumatic stuff. One time, I remember someone was getting mad at me because I didn't want to wear the deep V that was see-through. Kasi back then, I was so conservative. So, Miss Melba Arribas goes, wag na, give me your stockings. We used to wear stockings, diba? Then, she cut my stockings to make it a bra that was like something that was transparent, just to make me feel better. So, they were actually nice. They tried to help.
Lucky you.
Yeah, I was lucky that way. I had a hard time when I was PMAP president. Nagkwento.
I'm sure nobody dared make taray Bea. Kasi siya yung nagtataray.
Si Bea yung nagtataray.
My taray naman is humorous. No, I didn't experience that. But I've experienced discomfort. I wasn't comfortable with everyone. So I would just crochet.
Or fan yourself.
Mind my own business. Yeah, or hang out with you guys. Hang out with people.
Stitch.
I remember also when we were getting older and the younger girls were coming in, I remember Femela Baranda to be a 14-year-old child really with her mom, and she's so beautiful that all of us
I hated her.
And then Bea said, anong pangalan niya? Pomelo? What kind of name is that?
Did I say that? That wasn't me.
Maybe it was me. Mommy pa pala. Tapos, naka-high heel rubber shoes pa kasi uso nun, di ba? So parang every younger girl, there's always like a prettier and younger girl. And
Pink Soda. You guys were Pink Soda.
Yeah.
Soda also.
Not me.
So, parang, I think, Fem, if you're watching, correct me if I'm wrong. I think I was one of the first models who got to work with Fem because she started out in Pink Soda with a brand that I was a part of back in the day, and she was representing the younger line. So yeah, she was very pretty. She's so cute, and she
Yeah,
contest, I think, in the search for the pink soda girl. So
I remember.
I did think that she was very deserving, and parang hands down.
She really had star quality. Well, up to now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did that teach you about competition among women, or it's but natural to feel insecurity or unease when if the basis for success is youth and beauty, diba? It can't help. It's but natural to feel that way. How did you process such feelings later in life, and how have you managed to go through life with feelings about such things?
More than anything, it's to me how it came across was it really wasn't competition. I viewed it as I had my own market, Bea had her own market, Apples had their own market. So I knew where I wasn't going to excel, and I really did insist myself on that. So I just tried to make do, or I tried to be better in whatever field I would uh, I would be accepted in. So it's really more for me um, helping out those who are struggling in their confidence or in their skills. Um, it's back then. I don't know how the industry is now. I don't know what the climate is, but back then it was really tulungan. It's really bayanihan for everybody because maybe also because there were enough jobs for everyone at that time, and we were all young. There's no one else to help your friend but you. That's how it was to me. So, and I knew my shortcomings. I was the shortest, so I didn't really even try to squeeze myself into shows that required super tall models. I know I'm morena, so I don't even struggle to get into jobs that are for
That's why you weren't in the Chowking commercial with us.
yes.
Did you feel
It's
bad
not
about
all-
that?
Well, remember
That
yes,
was
you
so
had
funny.
I would be there. I would be your assistant. I drive for you. I wait for you until you finish your shoot.
Yeah, but at that time,
You know,
there were only a
Go
handful
ahead.
of models really like, PMAP, Wanda's group, diba? And that term lagare was something that we used all the time because when there were shows, it rained, it poured. We would do two shows and pictorials in one day, and it would be called lagare. And sometimes when you see other models doing so much and then you're not doing as much at that time, I would question like why am I not included in that show? Or yeah, and it could mess up with your confidence and you get
to
insecure.
damage to
Yeah,
emotion. Yeah.
yeah.
FOMO
That's
and
why. But
especially
eventually I realized even then that there's always someone gonna be taller. There's always someone gonna be skinnier, bigger boobs, better bone structure. And there's always gonna be somebody who has less to offer than you. So it doesn't help to overthink things and to put yourself down because you're not included in a certain show, or you weren't booked for a certain shoot. But it's a process. I really had to mature until I understood that. And so now, who cares?
And also, I think really it helped that there was PMAP. So we felt a certain amount of responsibility for the well-being of the people around us. Example, when new models would come in, you'd think you'd feel insecure, but no, you felt like you had to take care of them so they could, thrive in the industry. So there was a bit of purpose involved. As early as then, I knew there were certain things I needed to do. And I think it's the same thing for everyone who was a member of PMAP back then. It's like growing your category, taking care of your own, right? So it was something that was important to us. So we worked even outside of work just to make it viable, right? So that helped.
Yeah.
Bea,
Because, you know, we weren't treated very, I mean, I'm not saying we were tortured or what, but there were no standards, right? Models were treated like you're employees. You're not, you know, sometimes we'd go hungry, very hot rehearsal places until PMAP, you know, took care of all of us. And then we standardized the industry. And it became more professional, like PMAP said, it more professional.
PMAP, of course, is the Professional Models Association of the Philippines. This is sort of union run by models themselves. It was established in a certain year.
1986.
Both
1986.
Tweety and Apples were presidents, and Bea and I were officers, although I don't remember what
Bea
position.
was my vice president.
Oh,
I was?
Yeah,
Oh, I don't remember that.
I do.
Was I
Yeah.
good?
Very.
Thank you.
Exactly
So
the
there.
what were some of the
association needed.
things that you learned from PMAP and modeling in general? For me, because PMAP protected the rights and welfare of models, and we were always, like Apple said, taking younger models under our wing. This kind of mentoring was something I applied to my next life in the publishing industry, where I knew that there would always be somebody who is a better writer, a better stylist, or better at something else than what you were good at. But then I took special care of people that I saw potential in and wanted to nurture. And people were always asking, di ka ba na insecure, mas magaling yan sa'yo? But then I think we were trained well to look out for the welfare of our juniors. What were some of the other things that you learned besides having a strong sense of self, knowing your unique worth? What else did you learn about life through modeling?
So like Bea said, you're not the tallest, you're not the prettiest, you're not the thinnest, but you're the most determined and you're the most disciplined, then it can work. So it really depends on how much of yourself you give and then how you discipline yourself and how you put yourself out there. So, even though you have handicaps or you're not the best in certain things, you can always make up for it in other ways and be the best in your field, right?
Yeah,
And
and I think it also taught me uh, a strong sense of professional ethics. That whatever it is that you decide on, however you behave at the workplace, whatever it is that you do, whatever you choose not to do, it affects not only yourself but a good amount of many others. So it really teaches you or everyone to be more mindful of the thoughts, the actions, the behavior that you decide to get into, because it would mean something to a lot of people. It will affect them in a small way or in a great way. Nevertheless, it's a chain reaction for everybody. So a good amount of sense of consequence really is what I watch out for, and this is something that I learned in the professionalization of modeling. And on top of that, it really taught me discipline. You want to put out good work, you need to prepare for it. You cannot come to work unprepared and just try to wing it. You need to research, you need to rest, you need to eat, you need to work out, you need to, prepare yourself. And that doesn't just go for modeling. It carries over to the next phase of your life. That real work, serious work, requires a good amount of planning and a good amount of preparation.
Yeah, same. I think good work ethic. We professionalize the industry. They used to take away 50 pesos every 30 minutes we were late, right?
That's right.
And that until
Great.
now, Myrza,
I mean-
we're the same, right? Until now, I don't want to be late.
Yes.
It's really, I get so stressed out. And I think it's,
parang that's just 50 pesos, but I don't want to be. I don't
yeah,
want
I mean, that's just 50
to
bucks.
be deducted.
So you're so
rare.
big deal, you get 1,450 na lang.
Why I'm like this.
Tapos
No,
they
but
would raffle off all the money in the end.
The coupet.
and then we realized that even if you have everything, if you're not easy to work with, they won't work with you.
True.
So you have to be professional in that way,
Yes, correct.
right? There are so many, super beautiful, tall, whatever. And you would
Tall
hear,
lagi.
ayoko yan, mahirap, masungit yan, or mahirap makisama, very,
Professional.
yeah.
I think it also taught us
Honey, this is live. What do you
amount
mean?
of PR skills.
Huh?
Oops.
May party time si
Ah,
Bea.
honey, my other iPad, it's there. May Zoom na yan.
Taught us a great amount of PR skills because we were forced to mingle with and interact with the top designers, everybody from top designers to the manang dressers, and we had
Or even royalty, right? Like we went to Belgium when we met a princess. Di ba?
there
In
you go.
Malaysia, we met the prince and the...
So
Yeah.
Touching. Oh. Hi, Audrey.
Hi, Audrey.
Oji calls us the Batman girls.
Batman.
Correct?
Batman or Batman?
Bea, Apples, Tweetie, Myrza, Malu,
Sino yung
Batman. Huh? That's
Man.
it.
And
And after which,
Trixie.
that was his mnemonic device, so he could remember our easy call numbers.
213-500.
503.
501 was Malu. No. No. Who was? You're
500 to
506, babe. Here's
213504.
To those viewers who don't know what a beeper is, kindly Google it. Also Betamax. I think the discipline also is a big factor in a top model's life. And many people don't realize just how much work and discipline it actually takes before you can succeed in modeling. Many are under the impression that you can get by on looks alone without really
Yeah.
before a raw model is transformed into somebody who looks like a model, she would have to undergo a lot of makeovers, transformation. She would have to learn a lot of skills. She would have to, for example, know how to reshape her features through her eyebrows, or do hair, or work out, or learn how to walk, learn how to pose. Can you talk about what you had to do or learn or go through?
I used to watch a lot of the videos of the shows that I've done. I really wanted to see what mistakes I made, so I can make a mental note to improve on that, or small movements that I need to remove, or things that I overlooked, even with the way I fixed myself, or things of that nature. Even in print shoots, I felt I needed to understand my environment, the dynamics of everyone involved during the shoot, because it's not you and the photographer. There are many others. There's a creative director who wants one thing. The photographer's eye is looking for something else. You're looking for something else as a model. The designer is looking else for something looking for something else in the photo. It's to be able to deliver what everyone wants and for everyone to be happy. It's something needed to understand how to get to that, how to understand the lighting, to understand, all these things. It wasn't really very simple. At one point, it was quite overwhelming for a young girl, but eventually, when you take the time to do your homework and learn, and there's this um, desire to improve, there's really no other way but to get better. Then then and only then does a shoot become successful.
I remember taping my floor with masking tape just to learn how to walk in a straight line. Or during my training in PMAP, Tina Maristella taught us to practice posing in front of a mirror, and then we had to study every frame of our contact prints. You can Google that too, kids. Of our so we would know exactly which angles or sides that we look better in.
Yeah, we would have workshops, right? But I think I learned more from on the job. Like also being exposed to so many creative talents, like all the directors, the designers, even the makeup artists, the pattern makers, the one who would adjust your clothes. I just constantly talk to them and ask questions so I can learn the craft better. And they had so many different insights into how you should model, right? I always base it on what the designer expects from me, especially when I'm wearing his or her garment. It's important parang to be able to translate what they want, right, when you step on the stage. And then of course it's fun. I really enjoyed doing it, so it wasn't a job for me. I enjoyed learning from everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really not, it's not, modeling isn't about the model. It's not about you. So if you have that type of personality na, let me see the proof, let me see the proof, because you want to look good. No,
Yeah.
it's not that. It's really, you're not the boss. You're just really the canvas. You do what they tell you to do. You do what the client wants you to do. If you don't
Yeah.
feel that you look good in it, that you,
Sorry.
that yeah, sorry na lang. That's not the main purpose. It sounds so, it's not, also modeling sounds so frivolous, but actually we work hard, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we sacrifice. Like, I love champoy, but before before a shoot, I was known to have big eye bags, remember? Before a shoot, I would not eat
I
champoy for
remember
a
those
week.
toy.
It was hard for me. So no, really.
To give up.
Yeah. I didn't want to be manas. So there were sacrifices. Not eating chapoy was hard. No, but really, it wasn't just the way people think. If you're not in the fashion industry, you think basta
Yeah,
maganda, basta
yeah.
may
You don't
makeup
just
na
show
yan, basta
up.
matangkad, just go. Okay na yan. But no, movements are not, normal movements on the street can't translate well unless you fine tune the movements, you fine tune even um just the flick of your chin. It could change things. So yeah, it can't it a successful model can't be so into herself or himself. It's not going to work.
How would you contrast it to modeling today, where it's so celebrity driven, social media driven, other aspects as well? Like you couldn't eat champoy, but these days maybe you can Photoshop the eye bags tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
You couldn't really cheat because there's no take two. It was film. And these days, parang bigger of us, the more of a celebrity you are based on the number of followers, the more in demand you will be. They're no longer just receptacles for somebody's artistry, but sometimes you bank on their fame instead of the other way around. What can you say about that?
I would be a billionaire siguro if I if
So,
we had this,
and
if
what?
we had this social media then, and it was just, everything else equal, like there were only a few models at the time. If we had this platform, what? We would have what? A billion followers?
Yan ang confidence.
No. But I really appreciate what we went through then, because what you saw was really what you got. We had none of that high tech erasing whatever. Your waistline was your waistline. You
That's
couldn't
true.
you couldn't make it any curvier than it was, or any. So that's why angles were very important back then. We really had to know our bodies as a canvas back then. So now you can waste 100,000 shots and just have one good shot, and that's fine. Then you needed to nail it in the Polaroid pa lang, which was the sample. You nail it then, and that pose that you nailed is the pose that you're gonna have for 1 hour of shooting. So I think it was more challenging then.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
You need to get the money shot right there and then.
Yeah.
Polaroid.
One Polaroid and maybe 36 shots.
Film.
One roll of film. That's
Diba?
it. Yeah.
How many years did each of you model?
Oh God.
Tweetie and Apples carried over their modeling to like even beyond.
20 years after.
And our friend Marina Benipayo is still closing shows at her age.
Yeah.
Like a 30-year stellar career.
Yeah.
You gotta admire her.
I started when I was 21 and I ended when I got married when I was 30.
Wow.
Yeah, so almost 10 years.
How about for Tweetie and Apples?
I don't know. I didn't count.
20 plus years. I don't remember.
Or what was the point where you said, I don't want to do this anymore, or I think it's time to do something else? For me,
I think when
sorry.
We always say that. Wag na. And then,
Sige na nga.
here comes,
When you gave birth. When you
Yeah.
gave birth.
second
Yeah,
child.
I got pregnant. Then I said, okay, this is it. I'm already retiring. But then, after that, I still did a few other things.
Did you get tired of it, or was it just naturally time to do something else? For me,
I was busy with other things already, so there was really no point doing it. I wasn't sorry to leave it. I was happy where it was. So, and then I wanted to do other things, so it was okay. Yeah.
what were the other things that followed? For like Apples, before you became a hotshot corporate personal care
What shot?
PR queen. You
I
all,
was I was with Inquirer. Remember, I was doing the fashion pages. I was the editor of Fashion Friday, so I would do that. We were doing project run home.
and Tweetie were the editors in chief of Cosmo Bride magazine
Cosmo Bride and Bride and Home.
for
That
a couple of years.
I also opened a boutique agency that serviced a lot of different companies before I joined Unilever, and I think that was where the transition happened.
And you
I was
also
there.
opened the boutique. Mascot.
Yeah, and I
Oh
also opened.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I had many lives actually, like a cat.
Tweetie acted a lot with your modeling. And then after you left the Okay Cafe Rico, what were some of the other things that you moved on to? Including jewelry line and
I did many things now after that. I was teaching modeling soon after that. I was with Bride and Home, like you said. And shucks, I can't remember us now, but
You also
wrote,
wrote for
I
you
wrote
also wrote
for
for now.
I wrote for Arnell in Manila Standard, right?
Yeah. We
Yeah,
both
and then
wrote for
I would
now.
I would contribute in his magazines before, stop over, doing fashion and beauty. And what else did I do? No, I can't think of. But soon after, I started already doing my jewelry, little by little, and uh, when I got when I got heavily involved into the creating jewelry. Soon after, I was in retail. I was with Distance for many years, and I found myself eventually exporting to the United States and to some parts of Europe. After that, I focused on my retail, local retail. I opened my own store, Tabang, and now I'm concentrating on my online store. So that's where I'm at.
And then Bea, you left the country right
I was
after
also into exporting myself.
you moved to
You
Japan.
represented the country well.
Yes,
I was what was called a trailing spouse to my husband who was moved to Japan and China and Singapore. So we were away from the Philippines for 20 years. Can you tell by my accent?
I didn't realize it was that long.
Yes.
Get
So
to visit you in any
Huh?
city that you've relocated to. I didn't even get to visit you. Oh, but I did see you in Singapore.
You
I didn't
did?
even see her in
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Singapore.
We did. We saw each other.
what were
Yeah.
the
So
challenges of expat living? I know that you learned everything from YouTube, from baking cakes to
there's no YouTube. There was no YouTube in 1996.
okay, sorry about that. But you,
My first time to cook adobo, because it was in Japan, I didn't know what the meats were. So I just bought pork. Whatever pork was there, I bought it and I made it adobo. It was so hard. Pocholo had to go to the dentist the next day.
Oh my God.
I exaggerate, but knew nothing. But eventually, you have to survive. You learn. You do what you need to do. And eventually, I love cooking, I love baking, and I love feeding people. So
I'm sure you're nailing this lockdown, all the lockdown plastic skills, while some of us are like struggling to make sense of
yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm glad that happened, because if I had stayed here, I would have been a spoiled mom. I think I wouldn't have, you know, changed diapers, be with them 24/7, know them in and out. Know what they love, know what they don't like. Life here would have been easier, but then I wouldn't be as close to them, I think, to my kids as I am now. And I am thankful for all the hardship that I went through.
what are some of your epiphanies during lockdown, especially when it comes to our old normal and what you think the new normal will be? In Naomi Campbell's interview with Anna Wintour said, fashion will never be the same again. It has to change. It cannot be uh, as fast paced. It has to be more sustainable and has to have more of a conscience. What have you learned now that we don't really wear makeup except for Apples for her meetings? But like some people are realizing they only need like 5 sets of clothes pala and not like
Exactly. That's my epiphany. We really don't need much. I mean, I can survive by reusing and reusing and reusing stuff. And oh, sorry, someone came in. Yeah, that there's really not much that you need. It's really life could really be just simple.
Has it prompted you to weed out like a lot of trendy things or unnecessary objects? Have you Marie Kondoed your entire house or?
Funny
I
because
haven't.
that's before the lockdown, and the things that I thought I needed to keep. How long have we been in lockdown? Almost 40 days. I've never even given them a second look. So
Yeah,
it's
it's the loose clothes that are now in demand in my wardrobe.
for diba?
And you know,
What's it mean by so?
Pachola,
The least used item in the house during the lockdown.
What? Heels, high heels,
my underwear.
pants.
No, Pachola and I were actually excited to see our first bill, credit card bill,
Oh,
because we wanted to finally find out how much do you really spend a month. And because we're not eating out, we're not paying for gas for the car. We don't have RFID. We don't pay toll. I don't shop for unnecessary things. It's half. We were spending double what we're spending now. So it just, that's the realization that
But
there's so much that you don't need that you have and want, but it's just really that it's just a want, but it's not something you need. And now I get excited when I see online flour for sale, red flour. Oh my God! Click, 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 click.
The essential change. You know
It's
what
so
I
hard
realized?
to buy flour.
Yeah, I used to take so many things for granted that I'll never take for granted again after this lockdown. Like just being with your mom or your loved ones, just being able to give someone a hug, being able to say thank you face to face, even being able to meet your office mates face to face to reassure them that you're there for them. So many things that were just there before and you never thought that you would miss this much. And then another
Yeah.
thing I realized was I never did anything to take care of Mother Earth. And I need to come out of this more conscious about the things I can do to make a difference, not just for myself or for my children or for my family, but for the people around me. And I think I have the venue to do that with the work I do, right? So for me, I will really be more conscious about a lot of things coming out of this. It's like I need to create a strategy around this because I can't go back not changing the way things are
Yeah.
because that would be just so irresponsible. Yeah.
so you're doing a conscious life pivot as well.
Yes, but something that I can easily follow because you can't just turn around 180 degrees and say you're not going to do certain things you used to do. I mean, there are habits that need to be changed. It takes a while to build habits. It's a lifestyle change as well. So I need to create a roadmap of sorts where it's realistic for me to be able to change things. Is it as simple, for example, as not using um, one time use plastic, right? Or bringing a bag to the store next time you go. It could be little things that can eventually add up and become bigger things. But the key, I guess, is consistency and then spreading it around, right? And then also, how do I bring it to my work there? But things have to change.
Also in the way, I mean, our industry is fashion and beauty, of course, are dependent on new things, on people, seeing people. I was asking Apples earlier, what do you think? Will there still be events? Will events be obsolete? And she was telling me that she's been pivoting all their future projects, events. Can you talk
I
about
think,
an idea
yeah.
of how you are changing things in your arena?
Yeah, things will be different definitely because when we come out of this, we won't be having parties or events immediately. But you need to continue to communicate with the people around you, right? So you have to find a way to do it, whether it's digitally or otherwise. I don't really know. but we're gonna go back to basics, I would think, or discover new ways to do it with tools and technology. But it's gonna change big time. And the world will change as well because it won't be as healthy economically in the next few years. So everyone really needs to do their part.
What do you think will not change?
Well, I hope the values of family, right? The values of friendship, the values of believing in our God, faith. I hope those things don't change and only grow stronger as we move into this
Or if
different
Yeah,
world.
I hope the thing that doesn't change now is the concern we have for each other. The reasons we're all home is because we're concerned about our community. You know, not just our family. We're concerned that, you know, we don't want to infect people, not just that they don't infect us, but also that we don't want to infect them. I hope that doesn't change. But there's also a danger that after all this is settled down, we might forget. So
So
I think we
scary, no?
should, yeah, we should remember, we should not forget about it.
Good. Yeah, I think if even if it has to change, I pray that it's just going to heighten in importance. It's we now understand the value of caring for each other, for watching out for each other. And if it does have to change, I hope that there will be a greater feeling about it. Even for people outside our tight circles, even for people that we don't personally know, we need to extend our concern. So I hope we maintain that, if not improve on it after this lockdown.
Yep.
And after this, have you already thought of things you would like to do for the betterment of the world? Like, besides being kinder to Mother Earth, you've been inspired to help others in other ways besides raising funds or.
I think in our own small way, because we're bound by this quarantine, I think we can all start by teaching, instilling values into our children, the importance of charity, of sense of awareness, of bayanihan, and really understanding that there's a world outside of your own. I think in our own simple way, we can start with that. They can carry that with them when they're older, when they have their own children, when they have their own grandchildren, and then at least somehow you have the feeling that you've been able to pitch in into leading to a better world.
Well, me, I really think I can inject it in my work. Aside from those people closest to me and the kids I work with at work, I want to be able to give value to the people we serve because that's what everyone will be looking for. Everyone will be looking for things that give value to their lives, right? So I want to give direction towards that when it comes to what I do in Unilever. And I think it's aligned with what everyone else in the leadership team wants to do anyway. So I'm happy and I'm thankful that I can live my purpose through my work. Yeah.
How about you, Bea?
Are you waiting for my answer? What was the question? Next time, can you send the questions first?
Grabe. Demanding yung guest mo.
And then you can
Again, it was
back na lang.
Maubos
how
na
what
battery ko, guys. My battery's running out.
Sorry.
what's the question again?
What will you do differently? Tinanong.
What
What will I do differently?
or better after this whole thing, if it ever ends?
Never ends.
In the near future.
Grabe yung if it will ever end.
I don't know. See, I'm not a planner.
One day at a time. If
Yeah.
anything, it has strengthened bonds and friendships. Like my sister was telling me, now that the world is on lockdown, we communicate with our parents and each other even more often. And even for us, the chef girls, I think
Yeah.
now we're just
Let's be honest. I mean, there are months that we don't see each other.
Yeah.
But since the lockdown, we've talked what? 3 or 4 times on Zoom, 5, whatever.
yes.
Which we would never. We don't do that. It's because you, in your mind, you have time. You
Right.
know. Anyway, we have time. I'll do it next week.
Right.
Like a good example is when I was living abroad. I would see you when I came home to visit more often than now I actually live here.
Yeah.
I think it's because you take the time for granted. So now
So now
you
time is all we have. And so now
time is all we have, but we don't have the freedom naman to go out there and see each other. So now it's for us, it's just valuable to see all your faces. Except this is the only Zoom that everyone has makeup on.
I know. Usually we don't really look like this when we Zoom, but
Sometimes in bed pa.
I woke up like this.
we all woke up like this.
So you didn't wash your face yesterday.
No.
So I'm really grateful for the time you gave today, the time you took to put on your makeup and your tops, never mind the bottoms. And I'm grateful for our friendship, which has endured truly the test of time. And thank you, everyone, for joining me. And thank you, everyone, for watching and for all your supportive comments and questions.
Thanks, Myrza. Congratulations on your first ever
Were there any
talk
questions
show.
that were posted that we need to answer?
Read the questions because I have no glasses.
Wait, let me. There are no questions. They're all just laughing at us.
Oh my God.
Name names. Name names.
Mga ha from Buong Regala.
Bong regala. Ikaw talaga bong regala.
Laughing at, not with. Or greet them.
Hello. It's really all hello.
Thank you guys for
Thanks for having me.
and supporting
Love
us.
you guys. Love you
Good
girls.
Love
Bye.
flower.
Thank you.
Bye everyone. See you soon.
Bye.